how do you generate ideas? Like, to stock ko entire universe bata, how do you...
So stock ko entire universe sector wise हामीले segregate गरेर every quarter को data feed in गर्दै बस्छौं हैन. And from there पनि तिम्रो so sector wise हरेक sector so sector wise different data set भयो. And त्यसबाट if so valuation र तिम्रो underlying performance again त्यसमा revenue profits हेर्ने हो. So त्यसमा like कुनै unexpected deviations छ भने we try to delve deeper into that. एउटा चाहिँ त्यो भयो. कोही grapevine बाट पनि आउँछ and I have my own screeners. So
so what are those screeners? Because
so bad businesses ma invest नगर्ने, that's one screener हैन. त्यसमा अब different I mean I build my own formula भन्ने के like rules भनौं न. So one of the rules चाहिँ तिम्रो growth पनि हुनु पर्यो and underlying economic engine जुन हो त्यो चाहिँ strong हुनु पर्यो. अब त्यसको त्यसलाई गज गर्ने different parameters हरु सेट गरेको छौं and so valuation पनि so तिम्रो fundamental indicators मा चाहिँ stand out हुनु पर्यो उसको universe बाट and valuation wise पनि it has to make sense. If it's already like overpriced किन enter गर्ने हैन. If it's not like market ले त्यसरी pricing गरिसकेको छैन भने चाहिँ so त्यसलाई shortlist गरेर अनि then उनीहरुको peer analysis.
So I'm guessing like price is the last thing that you look at, right? I mean valuation is firstly
it matters when you decide to enter or not. That before that चाहिँ
correct. So यो त्यो भन्दा पहिला चाहिँ I think your whole thought process like is it a good company, is it a
good economic engine? I think that's where it starts.
So I mean the reason I'm saying this is even when you were at KPIs, I think you were, especially microfinance sector, you had built a very elaborate monitoring system for that entire sector, right? So do you still follow that for all the sectors? Do you develop that and do you screen companies?
Well, अलिकति evolution त भइहाल्छ हैन. त्यो levelबाट we've evolved. Even microfinance को जुन मैले गरेको थिए त्यसबाट पनि database नै evolution like evolve भइसक्यो.
Correct.
And across sectors I build.
Across sector you build these filters, right? मैले एउटा कुरा बुझ्न खोजेको हैन, and I could be right, I could be wrong, right? People who tend to monitor a lot, and there's a lot of stock portfolio turnover by rounds again, because suddenly like one company might do well for 3 quarters or 1 year, might not be a sustaining engine, okay? So and suddenly it catches your eye because okay, this is doing well, why is it doing well, should I start taking a position in this one? So because I mean not you, I mean we in general as fund managers, we tend to like monitor these screeners very often. Does that lead to portfolio turnover? What's your opinion on that?
It might, So it might in the sense of there's one credit cycle that's happening. The banking sector money credit cycle so wherein a lot of banks are stuck with bad loan portfolios and they're in that recovery mode. And a few like handful of banks, I think of the iCapital or Snowball Capital Day or article, and these are the banks. So more or less those banks are the ones who are going to be able to grow going ahead. So त्यो cycle and these price achieve these banks are going to perform well for the foreseeable few quarters. तर अब लेट्स से नेपालको क्रेडिट साइकल नै टर्न भयो अरे देन वी माइट यसमा भन्दा पनि तिम्रो भ्याल्यु क्रिएसन अर तिम्रो प्राइस रियलाइजेसन चाहिँ अर्को यो युनिभर्समा हुन्छ कि द वान्स हु आर इन द रिकभरी मोड उनीहरू अब त्यो इन्टायर सेक्टरमा नै क्रेडिट बढ्न थालेपछि बिकज दे आर प्राइस टु अर्निङ्स अर प्राइस टु बुक मल्टिपल वाइज पनि दे आर प्राइस्ड लोवर साइडमा त्यहाँ चाहिँ बढी भ्याल्यु हुनसक्छ सो द्याट वे चाहिँ चर्न हुन पनि सक्छ सो आई रियली डोन्ट नो लाइक कुन फन्ड म्यानेजरले कस्तो प्रोसेसेसहरू युज गरिरहेछ बट वान रिजन वाइ इट कुड ह्यापन इज बिकज तिम्रो बिजनेस साइकल टर्न भएको बेलामा चाहिँ हुनसक्छ
सो अघि when we were talking you said that you use your set of screeners and timro criteria no? So for our viewers can you share some of these like malai chai specifically I look for dui tinata kura when I'm looking at a bank right if I look at loan book athwa deposit growth rate right for me personally I look at NPA levels and I look at ROE right and apart from that obviously I do a little bit of scuttlebutt as well to understand actually management ke kasto cha so I might have friends who are branch managers and I try to understand their corporate culture कति aggressive छैन and those type of things. So what are the filters that you're looking at specifically for maybe one or two sector? Can you run us through that process?
Okay, lending sector ma, I mean banking sector ma, whatever you said. Apart from that, I think one more thing or two more things that I would add to that mix would be capital adequacy छ कि छैन.
Correct.
Tier 1 मा कति, Tier 1 plus 2 मा कति छ अनि does that capital base allow this particular bank to grow? जुन historically possible भएको छ going ahead चाहिँ cap छ कि छैन. त्यो चाहिँ like over a period of time like learn गरेको चिज भयो हैन. And more or less apart from that, I think that's pretty much it.
So from some other sector, like let's say lending, that's it. I think you told us, right?
So manufacturing sector ma pani timro margins bio, great is the margins. So DuPont analysis, whatever we have learned, that's like one of the best resources to dissect a business model, right?
Yeah.
Volume based business, okay, value based business, like pricing बाट body कमाउँछ कि यो business volume बाट कमाउँछ. So those kind of things हेक्क तीनटा dissect गर्ने बित्तिकै आउँछ. And manufacturing ma अब margins भइहाल्यो. So how good of an economic engine is it? Return on capital employed or return on equity ratios over a period of time, not like one quarter. So over a period of time, कतिको sustainable भएको छ. And margin पनि one quarter ma it can go down, हैन? Even like with a good stock, it can go down for different reasons. So over a period of time, has it been able to pass it on to its customers? That's an important thing.
Correct.
And manufacturing B2B भन्दा पनि B2C businesses
it has more pricing power.
Yeah. So
risk declare sabai kura common, right? Yeah. I think you'd mentioned this at Bottlers Nepal ko AGM as well, right? So if you go to the meeting minutes, I think this was all where you'd ask this question like, how much of a pricing power do you have?
Yeah.
And the management said that we do have that pricing power, and I think those are signs of good business. And over a period of, if you analyze their annual reports for over 10, 12 years, the data bounce, you'll generally find that they've been able to maintain their return on capital employed and return on equity. So which is again another sign of a good performance, right?
And another thing, manufacturing ma चाहिँ growth पनि important छ. So if it's a good stock, तर growth चाहिँ भइरहेको छैन भने market ले according to price win पनि गर्दैन. We have seen that with Unilever,
yeah. I think the last cycle ma till the time they were growing, market was rewarding it, हैन?
So growth नभएको चाहिँ हैन उनीहरुको EBITDA income I think गएको भएर चाहिँ फेरि
No, बिचमा चाहिँ there was
stagnate
पनि भएको थियो.
So market पनि accordingly flat नै राख्यो.
Flat राख्यो, right? In fact, for a lot of people who overpaid, I think 38,000 हो कि कतिसम्म पनि 36 हो कि 38,000 सम्म पुगेको थियो. It dropped to as low as 16,000-17,000 per stock, हैन? Not looking at the market cap, that's where it's currently at. It's around 18 to 20,000 range per stock, right? So yeah, I think that's right. And it's a great company, right? Good ROE, good ROC and everything. Without growth, again, like the market doesn't reward it, the valuation. I think another point you had mentioned is regarding those office vines kind of a thing, right? Where you said where you get information from. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, बाहिरको sourceबाट कहाँबाट idea generate गर्छ generally? Who do you discuss it with?
One of the sources saying our team ma pani because these guys go out and meet brokers and stuff. त्यहाँबाट पनि अलिअलि information भइरहन्छ. But again like rights आउँदैछ हो कि के को लागि आउँदैछ त्यसमा चाहिँ म अलिकति बढी फोकस गर्छु हैन. के को लागि rights आउँदैछ? Is it just so that promoters can exist or हुन्छ नि? So different reasons को लागि आएको हुन सक्छ. So किन आएको हो? Those kind of things भयो. Apart from grapevine, so you're at the sounding board I have at home as well. My brother is also in capital markets, so त्यहाँबाट आउँछ and other family sources बाट पनि okay यो stock के भइरायो भनेर सोध्यो भने if it's interesting enough I look into it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But none of these information that come from grapevine, they're a recommendation, like you don't buy it right away, right? They're just like initially split learning. And I think you mentioned rights, you know? So rights ma I think the interesting कुरा चाहिँ के छ भने no matter who, I think Muktinath Bank, you know, they've been doing well. I mean, it's a wealth creator over the past 10, 15 years. You know? I'm not saying this just because it's a parent company of your thing. So they have issued rights in the past. Okay?
Yeah.
So what's a really important indicator to see is like what's the return on equity, because it's a financial services. You know? What's the return on equity on each additional dollar that they're raising from the shareholders, right? And there are a lot of companies that issue rights, but their return on equity or return on capital employed is extremely poor.
Yeah.
So you're better off actually not putting money.
Yeah, correct.
And in short term, jatti price manipulate bhayo pani, if you look at these companies with poor ROEs, you'll see that jatti ne rights 1:1, 1:100 rights nikale pani, ultimately it just crashes over a
Yeah.
period of time, right?
Yeah.
So over the long term, I don't think so these sustain.